Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the Afghan Eye Podcast. I'm your host Sangar Paykhar, and in today's episode, our esteemed guest is Muhammed Enes. Muhammed Enes is the chief editor of MEPA News, and he's attorney at law in Turkey. In today's episode, we will be discussing the role of Turkey as a major regional actor with its implications for the situation in Afghanistan vis-a-vis, recent conflict with Pakistan. Because after the recent conflagration between Afghanistan and Pakistan in October of this year, Qatar and Turkey offered to mediate. And between these two nations, the mediation happened after an initial round of mediation in Qatar. There were several rounds of mediation in Turkey. And in recent days, we've heard from the Pakistani Foreign Ministry that they are more or less unhappy because of the fact that Turkey and Qatar offered to mediate and basically prevent Pakistan from taking military action against Afghanistan. This creates a very complicated situation to really understand what is the relationship of Qatar, Turkey, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. We're going to try to dive into that and understand that in this episode. Today, we will focus primarily on Turkey because Turkey is a major regional actor, not just for Middle East, but also in Central and South Asia. So that's why we're having our esteemed guest, Muhammed Enes, with us. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Afghan Eye.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. Thank you. Thank you for this interview and appreciate your efforts in Afghan Eye since years.
Thank you as well for your efforts at MEPA News. Ever since we launched Afghan Eye, our analysis and commentary, often when they are of any interest, you have also published our work in Turkish. So we're sort of more or less, how do you say, brothers in arms in journalism.
Yes, alhamdulillah. It's an honor to translate your works and other stuff.
So, Muhammad Enes, first important question that I would like to ask you is that we've seen these recent conflict between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and then Turkey is like historically it's a country that has its cultural, religious, historic ties with the region. And when the conflict happened between Afghanistan and Pakistan, Qatar and Turkey offered to mediate. First, how was this news reported and how was this discussed in Turkey? How was the Turkish vision on this conflict? How was it perceived?
First of all, I have to state that I think when the negotiations have started, the Turkish side and officials and the media, especially the media, had a Pakistani inclined side. And their stance is Pakistani inclined stance, especially I'm talking about the media. It's just about the historical ties between two nations, etc. And we heard the Pakistani rhetoric in the media, especially some outlets related with the government and related with other circles. They parroted the Pakistani rhetoric in general, and some of them, which I don't name, people can enter my feed on Twitter and so see what I'm talking about. These media outlets are harsher than Pakistan establishment about the issue. Some of my brothers told me that it's about their workers, their reporters are Pakistani nationals. But I think that it's not about the being Pakistani national. It's about being near to Pakistan establishment, because in countries like Pakistan, Turkey, and etc., there's a type of reporter, type of newsman, which is near the governmental bodies, near the army, and the establishment is harboring these kind of people. So their rhetoric is much more like the ISPR's rhetoric. But I think the things escalated and changed quickly. I think there's some factors regarding this change.
And what are those factors? Why has the rhetoric changed? What was the reason for a change in the way the conflict was framed?
Brother, I think first of all, it's about the Pakistani side's attitude in the negotiations. You studied and you followed the negotiation process much more closer than me, and it's possible that you see the Pakistani officials in the negotiation team of the Pakistani side are much more low-level people, but in Afghan side they have intelligence officers, they have some high-level diplomats and high-level people in their team. So when Turkish side in Istanbul received the Pakistani side, they saw that the low-level people, low-level diplomats, and people not even diplomats, in the team. So this is the first and foremost thing that affects the change that we mentioned earlier. And second of all, I think it's about the Pakistani establishment's simultaneous statements regarding the US, because the Gaza Strip is being massacred day by day. Last 2 years, Israeli massacres are ongoing, and the first and foremost biggest ally of Israel in this massacre, in this genocide, is the United States of America. It's no doubt in that. But the Pakistan, while being an attacker in this specific area of the world, other areas like Gaza and other areas, they are parroting some statements that annoying the general people and annoying the officials, about the giving US President Donald Trump Nobel Peace Prize and praising statements about the United States and other things. These kind of simultaneous statements from the Pakistani establishment, from Asim Munir, etc., is disturbed the people and then disturb the officials, I think, because of some free media outlets that giving these kind of statements, and from some social media accounts that publishing Pakistani establishments these kind of statements about the United States and Donald Trump, and they called Trump, Shahbaz Sharif called Trump like he's a big, enormous, great champion of the world. So people annoyed by this. So this kind of things, is annoyed people, because people in Turkey, especially when they think about Pakistan, Pakistani army, Pakistan's history, they think about Islam. They think about an Islamic nation being governed by Islam, being directed by Islam. So when they encountered the harsh reality about Pakistan establishment position, and I think this position is a general position, not about the current leaders of establishment, but people is encountering this stance just today. So I think this is one of the factors that annoys the Turkish public. Another factor, I think, is broadly killing of Afghan civilians. They conduct some attacks in Kabul and other provinces like Nangarhar, Kunar, Kandahar, etc. So people killed in these places, especially Spinboldak, etc., because scores of civilians killed, not just one or two people killed in the nighttime, like rural areas. They are strike directly, the district centers strike directly to capital, Kabul, and in broad daylight. So people think about what's happening If our think about Pakistan can be true or can't be true, people trying to catch up reality of today. And I think, lastly, we can see this change in two things. One of the things that, negotiations is stalled and ended in Istanbul. And right now, these negotiations is reported start in Saudi Arabia, not in Turkey, not in Istanbul or Ankara, etc., in Saudi Arabia. I think it's about the Turkey's stance is changing, and Turkey fed up with Pakistan establishment. And second of them is, there were reports about a high-level visit from Turkey to Pakistan, like intelligence officers, foreign minister, etc. But suddenly these reports are silenced, and nothing happened. We didn't see a visit happening. So I think these two factors, and first of all, the change of the place of the negotiations and the cancellation of this visit is showing us that Turkey's stance about Pakistan and these negotiations and this conflict is started to change. I don't know it's will continue like a deep fracture between the relations, but I think it's the reality right now.
What's so interesting is that historically, like Turkey and Pakistan have been members of CENTO. And during the Cold War, in those era, they basically were part of an alliance. Then during the decades of war on terror, obviously Turkey is a member of NATO, and Pakistan was a major ally of NATO during the war in Afghanistan. So you would expect that Turkey and Pakistan have always good relationships with one another. But with regards to the situation in Afghanistan, like I know in Turkey, the fact that the Taliban are currently running the government in Afghanistan, and their vision and politics and everything is not in line with what most people would say is an ideal state in other parts of the world. And I also hear and see often in Turkish media that they're very critical of the Taliban. But would you say that the fact that Taliban's political ideology and their form of government and what they were involved in the last few decades, war with the United States and other members of NATO, does that play a major role in how Turkish state and media and in general the public see Afghanistan? Because I would expect that if a conflict emerges between Pakistan and Afghanistan, obviously Turkey would say, okay, in this conflict, it's not just between two neighbors, it's between a Taliban movement and an ally. Would that make sense?
In general, Pakistan seeming as a Muslim power in the country of Turkey and in the world in general. It's a general image that save itself until the age of internet starts. After the age of internet starts and people have mobile phones, taking photos, taking videos, and share them online, etc. In the whole world, some rhetoric, some narrative are being changed. This is why, because people in the rural areas of every part of the world, you can say that in Bolivia, in Somalia, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, everywhere, during the earlier days of the world, during the 70s, you can say, we can only know what's happening in Peshawar, what's happening in Islamabad, etc. But nowadays, we can easily know what's happening in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, We can easily know what's happening in tribal areas like Waziristan, like Dir, like Tank, etc. And other parts of Balochistan, etc. So this changing the narrative, and there's a general belief that the governments are deciding what the people thinks. It's okay, it's understandable, but nowadays, especially when we see worlds inclined towards populism, the populist governments are elected by the people, and current governments are inclining towards more populist policies. And this change in the media, change the populism also. You can create just with a phone a stream of populism that directs some officials and some leaders towards something. I think it's happening about Pakistan, Afghanistan, etc. But in general, Pakistan rivalry with India, there are some statements and some false statements attributed to them, like they are champions of Islamic world, etc., contributed this image of Pakistan, especially in Turkey, because people seeming to Pakistan as or friends or brothers in the eastern frontier of the Islamic world. About the people, yes, it's okay, but about the establishment, people start to realize that it's not the fact. About the Turkey's participation in NATO and SANTO, etc., I think we have to study Turkey's foreign policy deeply. I'm saying that because when Turkey trying to make foreign policy in Arab world or in other Islamic world, Islamic part of the world, Turkey have to find allies, just like United States have to find allies, just like United Kingdom have to find allies. In general, Turkey have to find an Arab ally to pursue some politics. You can see that in Sudan. Turkey can directly make foreign policy in Syria without an Arab power. But in Sudan, it have to ally with some Arab power like Egypt, like Saudi Arabia. About Pakistan, Turkey have no interest that supporting Pakistan some internal matters. Turkey can choose if it's support Pakistan about it or not, because alliance in NATO and other SANTO things are much more things in the past.
Yeah, like with regards to Middle East, North Africa, Eastern Europe, the Caucasus region, you could say Turkey has strategic interests, right?
Yes.
But South Asia, there is no clear and evident strategic interest.
Yes, right now, especially if we look the foreign policy of Turkey at the past 10 or 15 years, Turkey started to increase its footprint in all parts of the world. But it's something new. Just like you say, in Caucasus, there is a Turkish foreign policy. We can date back to 18th century. In Balkans, we can date back this foreign policy to maybe 17th or 16th century in Arab world, etc. But about Pakistan and this kind of part of the world, when we look about Turkish history, Turkey have much more common with Afghans than much more common in Pakistan. That's why, because Afghanistan seem as a natural part of Turkish influence. That's why, because the young Turks, Enver Pasha, etc., and Fahrettin Pasha, etc., they have some policies, some strategies, some military works or some official works in Afghanistan and transoceanic region, but about Pakistan, it's much more different place. Like, beyond the Indus River and beyond the Hindu Kush, it's a different part of the world. Yes, it's deeply rooted in Turkish history, as you know, the Babur, etc., ruled to India centuries. But about the Turkish foreign policy that shaped 19th and 20th century, Pakistan is much more far away from the Turkey. And about the image of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, it's newly forming. That's why, because in Turkey, there is a pattern that forgetting a part of the world, and suddenly there's a regime change. Oh, what's happening in the bro? This thing is happening for 20 years at last. 20 years or 40, 50 years at last, But when you don't look around and don't research about something, and there's something happening in Afghanistan. It's happening for years, but you are busy with your own works, own studies. So it's newly forming image when we talk about Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. And some people, especially not familiar with the Islamic communities, this kind of people, not sure about what's happening in Afghanistan since 2021. They don't sure about its conspiracy theory, including in the United States and their plans, etc. They're still not sure, but I think the reputation is increasing, especially after these negotiations, because people, especially I think officials, are saw their seriousness about the issue. So it's being changed. Yeah.
What I currently see in Central Asia and Afghanistan is that stabilization of especially security in Afghanistan is directly influencing the relationship of Afghanistan with Central Asia, with Russia and China, because obviously those major powers in our side of Asia, they have a vested interest in Afghanistan as a country that can, be a source of a lot of mining and investment in mining sector, but also as a transit route connecting Iran, the South Asia with Central Asia. So the Central Asian republics such as Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, and now even Tajikistan, since very recently, they are all trying to change their policies towards Afghanistan because they are like neighbors who have commercial interests in Afghanistan. They have trade and investments that would actually benefit them. So obviously for them, having this very unpopular government in Afghanistan where the beliefs and values and laws are very controversial, for them it's a matter of realpolitik. They just want to see how they can benefit from the region, but there is also a cultural aspect to it, because regardless of what you think about the government in Afghanistan, at the end of the day, the people in Central Asia, they still identify as Turks, as Central Asians, as Tajik, Central Asians, as Muslims. So they see a long-term vision of what the region could be. Now, what I'm more interested in learning is are there any discussions in Turkey about expanding trade and commercial ties with Afghanistan? Is there any shift in the dialogue about Afghanistan currently happening in Turkey?
Well, I think that we have to bear in mind that the Turkey is one of the foremost sides that's engaging in diplomatic relations with Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. I think after China, the Turkey is the second position, in the second position. So it's shows us that Turkey have these kind of interests to pursue diplomatic relations with the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. I think the sole barrier that prevents Turkey to recognize Afghanistan, Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, is the general consensus in the world that it's forced by the United States. United States forcing its allies in NATO and in the other strategic allies like Indonesia, Malaysia, and other Arab nations to not recognize Afghanistan. When we chat Suhail Shahin, some years ago, he said that people in these countries have to prove that they're independent by recognizing us. So they show the world that they're independent from the United States dictations. But I think it's 3 or 4 years past from this interview. I'm not sure, but just Russia recognized Emirate. I think it's about becoming independent from the general order of the world to recognize Afghanistan. Other than recognition, I think Turkey pushing an active diplomatic policy in Afghanistan. But in Turkey, in terms of current politics, foreign relations based upon two things. One is pushing really foreign relations to achieve alliances, to achieve other strategic gains. One of these is that, and other is about domestic issues. Turkey is pushing some foreign goals just to achieve domestic purposes, to show people that they're trying to something, they're on something, etc. And about Afghanistan, the second one is preventing Turkey to go on wide relations with Afghanistan. Why? Because in Turkey there is two sides. One side, just like Islamic communities and others, are openly supporting Turkey's recognition and other relations with Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, and their communities, their NGOs, etc., are directly going to Afghanistan, supporting the economy, making some humanitarian work, and actively pushing a foreign relation, just like a state, but a proto-state, but other side, like more secular and more, how can I say, far-right people are not want to make relations with Afghanistan. That's why they're looking the foreign policy as a different tool. They want to pursue relations with Western countries and other secular countries. They deem Middle East and other areas like swamp, etc. They are saying that we have to be far away from Middle East, etc. I think it's not so logical. If it was logical, the United States won't pursue this kind of goals in Middle East and other areas. But you can't really, you don't really want to talk with this kind of people. So I think this kind of things preventing Turkey from widening its political relations with Afghanistan. And but I think these can be or will be change in the near future. If Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan can save itself from the foreign conspiracies like Pakistan and United States did.
If you could make a sort of a prediction, would you say that in the near future, what is going to be the role of Turkey as an actor in Central and South Asia? Like, we have established the fundamentals of the relationship, but based on what you've just explained, how do you see the role of Turkey as an actor, like with regards to Central Asia and South Asia, and with Afghanistan as maybe the focal point?
Brother, Turkey is pursuing an active foreign policy in Middle East since 70s and in the Central Asia since 90s because of dissolution of the USSR is the significant point about these relations. After 2001 and during the especially Erdogan's era in the last 20 years, especially particularly in the last decade of Erdogan's rule, these foreign policies are becoming much more active day by day. And in Central Asia, there are natural allies of Turkey because of the kinsmanship. They are Turkic states in general, and Tajikistan, not a Turkic state, but they have deeply rooted in the Turkic world and Turkic history. And regarding the South Asia, particularly Afghanistan and Pakistan, because India is a huge partner of the every country in the world because of its economy. And we can't talk about India like we talk about Afghanistan, or we talk about Tajikistan. India, if we like them or not, and especially we are making continuous reports about attacks against Muslims by Hindutva in India and other things, but India is natural partner of everyone in the world, not a choosable one like China, like United States of America. Every country in the world want to have at least business relations with India. So Turkey is among these other countries. But about particularly Afghanistan and Pakistan, I think Turkey's foreign policy is a classical foreign policy that any country in the world can pursue. We can't compare this policy in Middle East or Central Asia with South Asia. Just like you said, these areas like Afghanistan and Pakistan are yet to enter Turkey's sphere of influence in last 10 or 15 years. Before that, people in Turkey or politicians in Turkey just pursuing policies in Afghanistan or Pakistan embedded in United States policies, like they did in 2001 and before 2001 when they supported the Northern Alliance with the United States of America and other actors. But during the last 15 or 10 years, Turkey trying to build its own networks in Afghanistan, its own networks in Pakistan, with official channels or without official channels, like with NGOs allied with governmental bodies, allied with the state bodies, etc. And as brotherly Islamic countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan are seeming natural allies of Turkey. It's a general and classical thing, in the Islamic community, and especially Pakistan because their historical ties with Turkey, because it's a brotherly country, they say. But I think it's my general thinking about Pakistan establishment, and it saddens me. Pakistan is established as a dream for the Muslims in Indian subcontinent, but it started to become a nightmare for all of the Muslims in Indian subcontinent because of these establishment. Its policies, its alliance with United States and other powers, successive military coups and instability, etc. Let me talk about my past dialogue with some Pakistani brothers I encountered in Istanbul during a Ramadan time. After iftar, I saw them in my community. There is a big tent. We are giving meals to people make iftar. They appeared suddenly. I think they just encountered this tent and come there, make their iftar, etc. After that, I chat with them and I asked them about if they know about East Turkestan and Uyghurs. There is the neighbor of Pakistan. The East Turkestan is neighbor of Pakistan through the Kashmir. And these Pakistani brothers are students that Pakistan state choose and send to Turkey to get education. So they are intelligent people. But when I talk about them about East Turkestan, none of them know about what and where the East Turkestan is. So let's think about the current situation of the Pakistan. Pakistan is a giant Islamic country. Pakistan is a hope for all Islamic world. It have nuclear weapons. It have a huge army. It have serious Muslim population. Serious Islamic theological background, like they have on the culture, etc. But establishment putting chains limbs of Pakistani nation and making it downing it on the ground. So in the light of these realities, I can seriously think of real strategic ties between Turkey and Pakistan. Why? Because yes, Turkey have military and some business ties with Pakistan. Okay, but having strategic ties like they have with Azerbaijan, they have with Syria, they have with Libya, etc., is a different level. Turkey, yes, they will surely try deepen their ties with Pakistan. It's a thing, but I think even Turkish media tries to portray a different situation, like a brotherhood and military alliance, etc. I think these establishment policies and its instability are cracking the domestic build of Pakistan. So future relations is about the stability. Future relations is about becoming a unified and powerful country. But when we talk about Pakistan, what's coming in mind? It's economic crisis, IMF, and other problems. So Pakistan trying to coin some relations with Gulf countries to gain money to bail out themselves. But this money is going to corruption. So in light of these realities, I can't really think about relations with Turkey and Pakistan going fertile ground. It's yes, it will continue, especially when it comes about business and other areas. It will continue, and these relations, I will give you an instance. It's about money in general. Yes, there is some circles that making personal trade with Pakistan during the political coup against Imran Khan. I woke up this day, searching media and trying to understand what the Turkish media thinking about the Imran Khan's oust, I encountered a media outlet that enjoying that Imran Khan's oust. Why? Because their patrons have some business ties with Sharif family and Pakistani establishment. So there's a famous saying in Turkey: the media has no power, but the power has a media. When we when we understand this reality, yes, some media outlets that their patrons have personal ties with Pakistan, trying to portray a different situation, trying to tell us that Pakistan is prospering, Pakistan trying to ally with Turkey, etc. But when we saw the reality, reality is really different. And under these circumstances, I don't think that Pakistan can have really strategic deep ties with Turkey, and not even with Turkey, not any country on this world.
If we look at the countries in Central Asia and Middle East that are developing diplomatic, commercial, and cultural ties with other neighboring countries, this whole shift in global politics, right? There is this whole shift going on in global politics, and the age of unipolarity has basically passed. We live in a multipolar world, and in the multipolar world, Turkey is a significant regional actor. So when you see countries like Central Asia and Caucasus, when they want to develop ties with whether it's Turkey or Russia or China, it's always based on the fact that security and stability benefits all of them. So they have all this vested interest in security and stability. But with Pakistan, I think something that is a matter of concern for us in Afghanistan as well is that security is still a question. It's a major issue, and I think that the fact that economic security and political security is so volatile in Turkey, and I'm sorry, in Pakistan, that may also deter Turkey from further, expanding their relationship. Would you agree?
Yes, just I said before, you can have enormous power, you can have enormous economy, but what's important to build a foreign policy network with country is stability. Let's talk about Saudi Arabia and Pakistan relations. You have think yourself as a Saudi diplomat, Saudi foreign relation builder. You are trying to build a strategic relation with a country named Pakistan. You are trying to invest in some places. You are raining money on them to build some stuff, etc. Especially about the climate change, especially about the flash floods, to prevent them, to build infrastructure, etc. And boom, someday you saw that all this kind of money go to the corruption, and you have to start once again, and you have to bail out them. You have to interfere between them, to World Bank, interfere with them, to IMF, to bail them out. Turkey has don't have these kind of money resources like Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Turkey rather have a know-how in military, in policy, and other areas. But I think Turkey much more inclined to invest this know-how somewhere might have much more stability. But right now there is a Sharif dynasty in Pakistan. Yes, in the past centuries, they are dynasties. You can invest a country that's ruled by a dynasty, but at last dynasties can sustain themselves. But now there's a Sharif dynasty. What about the year later? Which dynasty we will have? Imran Khan's dynasty or Benazir Bhutto's dynasty or anything? They can't be sure. So yes, they have relations with Pakistan, but I don't think that anyone in his serious mind take Pakistan establishment right now, especially Asim Munir and his team, serious. Because I don't think that they have serious plans to what to do with Pakistan. But if Pakistan decides to enter a war with India, yes, Turkey and other countries have to not go to war with India, but have to support Pakistan. But as I said before, India is natural partner. It's affecting the Pakistan's foreign relations with every country because their neighbor, their rival neighbor, is natural partner for everyone. So in case of any war, may Allah forbid, and may Allah save Pakistan from India. I say that from the heart. But in case of any war, yes, Turkey and Arab dynasties will surely support Pakistan, but they won't destroy all of their relations with India. So Pakistan and especially Pakistan establishment have to be cautious. Maybe they can think that if we enter the war, we can save ourselves and we can default the country and we can cause to forget all the problems. But in this kind of war, there won't be any ally of Pakistan rather than Pakistan other than itself. Yes, Turkey, Arabs, and others will help Pakistan, but relations with India must be saved for every country. So they have to be cautious about that.
Thank you for your analysis. I think it's very insightful to get your perspective because Turkish world, Turkish media, and what's going on in Turkey is impacting the region, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and having your perspective as well, specifically your own analysis, is very valuable for us. And I hope that we can have these discussions again. For people who would like to learn more about your work, about MEPA, what is the best way to reach out to you?
Thank you, brother, for all of your good words. Jazakallah khair. We have a website, mepanews.com, and other social media in Facebook and Twitter, now X, in WhatsApp and Telegram. And we have our YouTube channels related with MEPA, but quasi-independent, named Maruf and my brother Khalid Abdurrahman's channel, etc. They can visit this website and these social media accounts, and we have contact addresses in these sites. They can reach out to us. Thank you again.
You're welcome. I will make sure to put the link of MEPA under this episode on our streaming podcast streaming services and YouTube. Thank you again. May Allah bless you for being my guest today. For our viewers, if you liked this episode, please make sure to subscribe to the Afghan Eye. If you have any comments, we would like to read your comments on these current affairs, whether it's related to Turkey, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, or more broader matters. So please let us know what you think. Do not forget to send us an email if you have any questions or suggestions. Our email address is info@afghaneye.net. And if you'd like to support our work, please visit our Patreon page or PayPal page. Until next episode, take care of yourself and each other. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.